Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. I've lost track because Zoom keeps crashing. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. My name is Donald Patak. I'm your astrologer. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright. Keys to the reading: 1. I read astrology differently, and this is how. I read constellation-based astrology, sometimes called true sidereal. It's astrology by the visible sky. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons way back in the early 200s, around 220 AD, when Aries was at 0 degrees on the horizon. Problem is, we have this thing called precession of the equinox, which determines our astrological age, which means the constellations keep moving, albeit very slowly. So that's part 1. Part 2, and you're using the visible sky, we have 13 signs instead of 12, but because between Scorpio and Sagittarius, there is another sign. It's called the fucus. It's his foot that's in the zodiac belt, but it's there. And the symbol of the fucus is a man holding a snake by the head and the tail. And the snake in ancient times symbolized knowledge. So this is a person who has knowledge, they're controlling it, using it to heal themselves and ideally to heal others. I use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who try to make each sign the same size, but if you go out stargazing, you will see that Virgo inner glory is just under 50 degrees, and constellations like Scorpio, Cancer, Libra, Fucus, even Aries are less than 25 degrees. The constellations are all different sizes, and I honor that. And I use the astrological midpoints. The IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. Anthony Schmenti noted this when he was zooming in on the border between Scorpio and a Fucus, and he noted that there were stars from Scorpio in the IAU, on the other wrong side of the IAU boundary. So he looked at the zodiac belt, last bright star of Scorpio, first bright star of Fucus, determined the midpoint, and said, hey, using geometry, of course, and said, hey, that's what I'm going to use. And he did that for the rest of the constellation. So I like it. I think it's a little bit more accurate, but that is how I read part 1. And part 2, I read I interpret using what's called evolutionary astrology, which says that the planets, signs, the constellations, the houses, they're all teachers. So these are lessons to learn, and you have freedom of choice. You can choose to learn the lesson, or you can choose to live in the shadow, which is, not learn the lesson and suffer with or live with the consequences, I should say. This is the weekly edition. So you have freedom of choice there. This is the weekly edition. These are universal lessons for your fellow Earth travelers, so do have some compassion on them. Dates are based on the Eastern U.S. time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. I am operating within 1 degree of exact, and my software is Capricorn by Prometheus, and that little white lump is my cat, Kit. Come on, down. She had a litter of kittens last week and unfortunately lost every single one of them for some reason, and nobody's sure why. So she's been extra needy. So these are the weekly transits for the week of July 7th through July 13th. The sun is currently still in Gemini. We're working through that. The moon starts in Scorpio, spends one day in Scorpio, and ends late Sunday night in Aquarius. So the moon is actually relatively steady, all things being equal. We do have the full moon in Sagittarius on July 10th at 15:51 Eastern time. That's 3:51 for people who don't read military time. I have all my clocks set for military time because it just helps me read them better. We do have a sign change this week. Mercury will enter Leo. So we'll have that little sharing and expressing the knowledge that you have, learning how to communicate. Our active planets. Venus is finishing up its transits from last week. So there were a lot of Venus transits at the end of last week. So the beginning of the week, we'll have a little bit of a Venusian flare, so to speak. And at the end of the week, on the inner planets, the sun it does have a transit. It's actually a relatively quiet week when we do get to the transit map. On the outer planets, Saturn and Neptune are still conjunct, and both of them are transiting Pluto. And retrograde. This week, Saturn moves retrograde. So we have Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto all retrograde. Get ready for the retrograde parade. And retrograde means it's a time of reflection. So here's our overview. And as you can see, Monday and into Tuesday really is the end of the Venus transits. This dotted line here are the transits from the previous week. So as you can see, we're finishing up the Venus transits, the few that are left. There's sextiles, trines, easy to work with. We do have that conjunction of Saturn and Neptune and Pluto. And as you can see later in the week, Wednesday, we do get a little bit of a breather with just the moon changing into Sagittarius. And then Thursday, we have the full moon and the new transits start up. So let me draw this here. So that's kind of your break. Wednesday with this switch into Sagittarius. That's the only transit. It's a good thing. And you can see the sun right here, working with the nodes of the moon. Saturn transiting Pluto right there, and Saturn will be going retrograde during this. So I will interpret that mostly as if it's retrograde because that's what Saturn will be doing the bulk of the time for that transit. But as you can see, it's very few new transits, and we do get a nice break in on Wednesday. Clear. Oh yeah, hold on. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I got doing summer school this year, so fun. So from hold on a second. Way back in June, we do have the Saturn conjuncting Neptune, and Neptune was retrograde July 4th. Saturn will be retrograde this week. So this whole transit right now is currently in retrograde. And Saturn is a nice planet. Saturn is, if actually learn how to work with it, Jupiter provides you with opportunity. Saturn says, let's do the work. And if you do the work, I'll reward you handsomely. And so this is about maturing in your spirituality. I think there's a simple lesson or a simple way of phrasing that one is learning to be self-disciplined in your spiritual practices, pay attention to them, do the work, and pay attention to the insights that you get. And in retrograde, this becomes more internal, a little bit time of reflection. Are you paying attention to your spiritual practices, or are you just running through the motions? And how can you become more skilled at them as well? I think that's another nice word that goes well with Saturn, being skilled. In the shadows, Saturn falls into deep frustration and fear and other dark moods like pessimism, self-pity, etc. And Neptune just wants to escape it all, numb the pain and get away. And so this is pessimism trying to drown its sorrows, or take them for a swim at least. So slipping into fear can lead to a desire to escape, and falling for the hype leaves you lost in illusion and confusion. And you may feel isolated and drifting along aimlessly and purposeless. Okay. What's up, Ghost? Ghost, it's okay, buddy. It's my one cat. He cries a lot. Feels alone. 7 cats in the house, and he feels it. Plus, he's got. So from the 29th, Neptune in Pisces is sextiling Pluto retrograde. Neptune will move retrograde, is currently retrograde as well. So this is a lot of interior work and inner work. So Neptune, your spiritual growth, paying attention to spirituality, and Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto is the planet of transformation, and in Capricorn's doing the work of transformation. So this is taking a time and looking at how are you being inspired to do that deep work and that deep inner work and that deep transformational work. So, and doing that can bring inner transformation. And you first, and I think this is a great lesson. I'm hearing this a lot in some of the articles, or reading a lot in the articles that I'm reading, and some of the clips that I watch, transformation is first internal before it becomes external. So right now you're looking at how spirit is inspiring you and helping you to make those internal changes. And understanding it from a higher perspective can sometimes help motivate you to do that work. The shadow is falling into illusion or trying to escape, hide away, can lead to your collapsing into cynicism, nihilism, and deep feelings of emptiness. The fire defeat is possible, but only in a self-created fantasy. So you're living in a fantasy and just watching hopes and dreams crash away and get crushed. Yeah, there we go. I don't understand the notes that I had on that one. That was weird. From July 5th, we'll be finishing this up this week. This is part of our wonderful Venus transits. Venus in Taurus sextiling Saturn in Pisces, and it's also going to be Saturn sextiling Neptune at the same time, but I'll break it down in pieces and then give you a little summary of both at the end. Venus in Taurus, Venus is about relationships, but also remember it deals with creativity, having fun, rest and recreation. So it's finding peace and stability in your ability in your relationship. So this is you not looking inward, but looking outward, turning to other people for help. And how is that helping you in your maturity, in your growing, and in your personal development? And how are you building self-respect in them as well, and respect for others? And so that's the ideal there. And the shadow here is that Venus can be very lazy, and my gosh, in Taurus, it's lazy on steroids. So it's a very lazy, slick, manipulative person trying to get other people to do the work for them. And that's going to lead to shallow and superficial relationships, or feelings of fear and crippling pessimism will crop up. And playing the pity game also has you feeling hopeless and empty. And Venus sextiling Neptune, and Neptune's retrograde. So again, how are other people helping you in your spiritual growth? The key thing, I think, with Neptune, if you remember that it's that lesson of being able to work with others and be also learning to be present with them. I think that's important. Being your natural self. I look at that Taurus's being your natural self in your relationships. How's that helping inform your spirituality as well? And that can lead to deeper transformation, and also help transform your relationships in that way. See how being at peace helps you, how you can rest and recover, and also how your relationships providing you with inspiration and creativity. I think that's another thing. The shadow here is that slipping into that illusion, or being slick and manipulative can have you falling into illusion about what the relationships are, and also your creativity, how rested up you are, etc. I mean, there's a difference between picking up a pen and paper, or pencil and paper, pen and paper and writing, or I know people who do with pen and paper too. They're pretty good at it. Doing the work, doing that creative work versus sitting down and using something like AI to do the artwork and claiming it as your own. It's two different worlds there. And the one is using AI, whatever, to do the creative work for you is an illusion of creativity versus doing it by hand, writing things out, doing the actual doodling. That is the authentic there. But reflect on how slipping into illusion can create opportunities to be lazy or manipulate others, or open you up to being manipulated and giving away too much to others. And we have Venus sextiling both Saturn and Neptune. So how is working with others helping you to mature and grow in your spirituality? Or how is your creativity helping you mature in your spirituality? Things like that. And finally, we have Venus trining Pluto in Capricorn. And again, this is relationships. You learning to be natural in your relationships. Trining Pluto in Capricorn. We did talk about this a little bit, but Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto is the planet of transformation. Retrograde is internal transformation. And in Capricorn, it's doing the work. Yeah. So how can finding peace and stability in relationships help in the healing and transformation of wounds? Look to see how building empathy and harmony with others can help you face the unconscious and recover what was lost. Yeah. And the shadow here, again, being that slick, manipulative person, can have you falling into cynical attitude towards other people. I better, cheat them before they cheat me, so to speak. But shallow relationships built on manipulation of others reinforce emptiness and feelings of darkness or cynicism. It can lead to isolation and loneliness. These are shallow and superficial relationships on a good day. So, yeah. And finally, I think on Sunday, we do have the moon entering Scorpio. So emotional depth and emotional intensity. And yeah, so when I say that, people, I know there's some people who think dark emotions intensity. That's the shadow. But you can feel deep joy, deep happiness, deep love. Those are all different emotions. And you're learning, the moon in Scorpio is learning to feel your emotions more deeply. The shadow is refusing to feel more deeply, or also falling into foul or dark, bitter moods that can get out of control. Do be careful of that. And Monday, take a breath, remember to exhale, repeat, and congratulations. This is where it crashed last time. So far, it's working. Thank my techie guy. Tuesday, thank you, techie guy. Tuesday, July 8th, the moon will enter a fucus. This is a time of emotional healing. And being open to healers and teachers who can teach you and want to help you and teach you how to heal. So it's learning to gain healing knowledge and doing it. So I think that's important there. The shadow is emotionally falling into that whining and living the wound and becoming the wound. This can make you miserable and lead to deeper injuries of yourself and those around you. The old saying, misery loves company. No, misery hates company. Misery making other people miserable just makes you miserable. Wednesday, moon enters Sagittarius. And again, this is your emotional self, and you're ready to shake things up a little bit by taking on new challenges and looking for new opportunities and fresh ideas that could be exciting. Sagittarius hates boredom. Well, I should say hates it, dislikes boredom. It's always Gemini is going. Let me give you this distinction. Gemini is going to the library and reading about an amusement park, or reading about a park, or reading about a museum or a historical site. Sagittarius says, let's go to that park. Let's go to the museum. Let's get out in the real world. So emotionally, you want to get up, go out and do things in the real world. So yeah, be open to those opportunities. What can be inspiring and interesting to you? On the shadow, be careful being self-righteous and defensive, as it can leave you stuck in the status quo, feeling lifeless and bored. And Thursday why didn't the at sign vote? Never mind, the program is working. On the 10th, we do have the full moon in Sagittarius at 1551 or 351 for those people who do not use military time. And just to know how do I know how to convert military time? If you see it greater than 13, subtract 12, and that tells you the regular time that non-military people use. So the full moon in Sagittarius, what we have here is the sun in Gemini opposite the moon in Sagittarius. So this is a time of balancing and reflection. So the sun in Gemini wants to learn, and it's learning about your core identity. And the moon in Sagittarius wants to get up and go do things with that. So do take time to reflect. Are you learning about yourself and then getting up and doing something about it, or doing something with that? Yeah, that is important. And What else do I have here? Yeah, reflect on what you're learning is the same old stuff, emotionally exciting, and balancing the emotional needs with your core identity and looking for information that helps you fulfill both. So, I myself love history. I'll give you an example here. I like history. I can sit down in my library and read about Native American history, or here in Western New York, I can go up to Ganondagan in Victor, New York, and visit a Seneca Nation museum that honors the Seneca Nation. I can go to the Cattaraugus, no, Allegheny territory, and they have a beautiful museum there, and I can explore the museum there and go to the events there. And they also held events on the Cattaraugus territory, and I can get up and go out and visit the live events and learn things that way. So this is learning to balance learning about yourself and then getting it out into the real world and doing something real with it. The shadow here is getting stuck in what you know and just rehashing the same old thing and getting bored and stuck in a rut. And that can leave you feeling empty, running through empty emotions that leaves you feeling emotionally unfulfilled and honestly nothing really being achieved. I got this image of like sitting on a stationary bike and doing a stationary bike thing and thinking that you're actually out on the road biking. There's and yeah, the stationary bike in the middle of winter. I'd rather be on the stationary bike, but summertime when it's nice outside, get on the bike, go out. All right, off my high horse, or the cycle, as the case may be. And on Thursday, July 10th, not Saturday. My mind's already on the arcade books. Yeah, sorry. Thursday, July 10th, 2025, Saturn in Pisces is sextiling Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And Saturn will retrograde during this transit very quickly. So I will touch on that. I don't know that it really goes exact. I've looked at all my maps and they don't have it exact on this day, which is kind of weird. But Saturn in Pisces is learning spiritual self-discipline, spiritual maturity. Sextile is this excitement. And Pluto, like I said, Pluto in Capricorn is doing the work of inner transformation. So how is your spiritual maturity helping you to do the inner work of transformation and deep inner healing? I think calling Pluto deep inner healing, and I think it's in the writings of Jeffrey Wolf Green. I'll have to check with Michael on this, that Pluto can be thought of the recovery of the soul as well. So recovering the deep soul wounds and healing the deep soul wounds. So having self-discipline, be present with yourself, help you affect on the actual transformation of your work and the inner work. And by practicing self-discipline, it's probably it is possible to see ways to recover what was lost and see how to do it. So this is very much about very much to me about taking action. And as Saturn moves retrograde, all the action is going to be internal. And as I said before, all change in your life starts first as an internal change, and then it manifests itself out in the real world. So this is going to be about a lot of this transit here is going to be a lot about doing the internal changes that will lead to the big changes in the external world. On the shadow here, and Saturn falls into bitterness and cynicism, and Pluto goes into cynicism and nihilism. This is falling into a really deep, dark funk mood, bad attitude on steroids. So slipping in despair and self-pity, leading to defeatism and feeling helpless. Feeling of frustrations can have you reliving the wounds of the past and developing a cynical or nihilistic attitude towards life, and just reliving the wounds and re-wounding yourself, I would say, as well. And it can slip into darkness easily. So you're literally recreating recreating the past in your own mind, so to speak, and reliving it in the world today, and just rehashing those wounds. Really horrible. Don't do it. On Friday, Moon enters Capricorn. So emotionally, you're ready to roll up your sleeves and do something and get down to work. And face difficult challenges and do what's necessary to achieve the success. And you're ready to let go of what's holding you back and take disciplined action. And the shadow here, I didn't put in my notes. I got a, where's that notebook? During my rehearsal, I thought I had this in the notes and I didn't type it up. I'll have to fit it. Yeah, this is falling into loneliness. This is falling into loneliness, isolation, becoming a bit of a control freak, trying to micromanage. You can't control yourself, so you try to manage everybody else. And this can lead to being uptight and feeling lonely and isolated. And then you're crossing Pluto. And so that can really lead to a really dark and cynical mood on top of that. So that's Friday. And Saturday, I will be in the mood to go to the Arcade Library book sale and see what books I can find. Hey. So Saturday the 12th, Saturn is going to move retrograde in Pisces. So say it might feel a little stuck. During this transit, it's possible to feel a little stuck in your motivation trying to do things. That's okay. Don't push yourself. Just, Pisces, go with the flow. Feel like you need to take a little break, that's okay. Standstills are fun. So Saturn moving station retrograde. So this is a time to reflect on the work that you have taken in your spiritual growth and look at it from a higher perspective, see what you have done and how it's been done, and take time self-reflection to see how have you grown in your self-discipline and integrity. Are you growing in your self-discipline and integrity? And then if yes, good, how can you continue to make sure that, what can you do to continue to guarantee, to help yourself continue that progress? And if not, hey, you know what, this hasn't been a good run for me. What changes can you make so that when this transit is over, you make progress? This will be lasting. And I was asked this, so I'm going to start putting this into these retrogrades. This is going to end around November 27th is the current forecast. So this is your time to reflect on your maturity and your growth. And I say in Pisces, I would say in your spirituality. It's also dealing with Neptune here. So these two are going to be working together for a long time. This is spiritual maturity, and it's a chance for a do-over. So if you don't like the progress you're making, it's a chance to make a change. Oh, hold on a second. I forgot to read the shadow there. And the shadow is you focus on failure and figure out how you try to escape from it rather than addressing practical actions. And this leads to feelings of frustration, despair, self-pity. Also possible to play the martyr and the self-made martyr at that. And then all through all this, what you're doing is what could be done is forgetting how the problems were created in the first place. So ick. What's causing the problem? Head in the sand syndrome. Don't want to deal with that. This is playing the victim. Saturday. Okay, this is our inner planet sort of transit here. The sun and okay, I got you, girl. Stay on my lap. Sun in Gemini is trining the North Node in Pisces. So let me pull that up there. I want. So we're dealing with, and I'm going to go wide here. And, black is fine. We're dealing with this part for this reading. Anytime a planet is an aspect to one of the nodes, it's always an aspect to the other, or will be shortly. They work in pairs. And this North Node in Pisces, we're on the final weeks of the North Node being in Pisces. The North Node is a destiny or a purpose in this lifetime. If I'm doing a past life reading, this is how you heal the wounds of the past. The key to understanding this transit is understanding your natal North node. And for me, when I'm looking at the North Node in Pisces, you're understanding your purpose in life from a higher perspective and also potentially as a deeper perspective. So you're really seeing the bigger picture of it, and you're understanding the deep meaning, and it allows you to get really, really deep into it. So, and with the sun and Gemini, the sun, your core identity, and Gemini, learning, curiosity. And I would say the theme is about yourself. What are you learning about yourself? And how is this helping you to fulfill your destiny and fulfill your purpose? And with this being a trine, trines are easy energy. This is a support. So what you're learning about yourself is helping you support and fulfill your life's destiny or purpose. So there is that. This shadow, the North Node, instead of working to fulfill your destiny, you're denying your destiny or hiding from it or living the illusion thinking, I've already done it all. I'm self-actualized. Nobody ever really, let's be honest. You're on a journey of self-actualization. We have our days when we're good and our days, well, we need a little somebody helping us to stand up and dust off the mud. But slipping into self-aggrandizement about what you know about your purpose or collapsing into a false sense of the self and the false ego is deceptive and results in delusions, and also it can be a denial of your purpose or trying to escape from it. If you ever watched Young Frankenstein, there's the scene where Gene Wilder he's in sleep and he's having that dream and he goes, destiny, destiny, you can't escape your destiny. And I'm saying that it's like, you can't deny your destiny, but he's trying to escape who he is. And that's what this is. You're trying to escape your purpose in life. That's the shadow. Don't do it. Instead, go for the heal. Go to the drawings. Gotta remember to close this out. This is still working. I am happy. And also on Saturday, we had the sun sextiling the South Node. So the South Node is right here. And I'm going to give you a little summary of both of them. And again, what are you learning about yourself? And the sextile here is an excitement, it's interest. It's like a second breath of air or a second wind. You've ever been like running or biking, you're getting exhausted, and then all of a sudden you start feeling that revitalization. That's kind of what this sextile is. And the South Node is how you hold yourself back. You're aware of how you're holding yourself back from success in life. And in Leo, how do you hold yourself back using pointless drama? Or how are you holding yourself back also by not being seen? Leo wants to be seen and appreciated. Honestly, that's the great lesson of Leo. It's time to stand up, being seen, being appreciated. The South Node is how you hold yourself back, and it's showing you how you hold yourself back with pointless, useless drama, either over the top or trying to shut everything down. So what you're learning about yourself, and this is what you're learning about yourself, is how you hold yourself back with that. That's the ideal. And with that, and becoming more aware of the patterns can help you gain information on how to change those patterns. You know what? I always make a big scene when this guy says something. And I was just watching this YouTube video or this thing on Instagram about this guy telling me how to handle that with a question. I'm going to try that question and let's kill this pointless drama. Hey, it worked. So that's the ideal. The shadow here, again, is that false ego showing up, and you're throwing, I hate to say it, you're throwing, it's like it's like having a campfire and having that strong enough breeze that causes everything to flare up and turn into a forest fire. That's kind of the analogy here is what I have. Because that South Node, the BS drama, the garbage drama is played out on the stage for everybody to see. And this is a Grammy performance or an Emmy performance. Now, Grammy is music, Emmys, Oscars, Tony Awards. This is over the top for everybody to see pointlessly and needlessly. And it can damage your core identity. the end of the day, your identity gets damaged. It's the drama over the top, the drama king, drama queen stuff going over the top, or the drama queen, I'm helpless, I can't do it, have somebody else. And okay, fine, you don't want to do it. I'll give the winning trophy to somebody else and let them handle it. You lose all the whining. So with this trine sextile, ideally, you're becoming aware of how you hold yourself back with pointless drama so that you can move towards your purpose in life and understand it at a deeper level. Well, let's clear the box. I'm kind of happy with that. And on Sunday, the moon enters Aquarius. Emotionally, you're up for a little bit of freedom, a little bit of independence. This happens later in the day. I think on my thing was after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 1400 hours Eastern time. But this is later in the day. Emotionally, you just need to cut loose for a little bit. And it's Sunday before you go to work week on Monday. So you need a little emotional freedom. And that's what this time is for. So take time to feel free, release. Wait a minute. Yeah, feel free, release what's holding you down, holding back. Look for different ways of doing normal things, you know? New, fresh, inspiring, freeing ways of doing things. The shadow here is acting up and different ways of if the sun's in if the moon's in, if Leo is acting out drama queen, this is pushing people's buttons to get a reaction. And that's what more Aquarius is doing stuff to annoy people. That's why I'm going to put that. So acting up, selling out, feels fake, empty, unfilling, leave you feeling stuck as well. But yeah, it's acting out, pushing buttons to try to get a reaction people, or it's selling out and trying to fit in. But at the end of the day, you feel fake. And then way late on Sunday night, Mercury does enter Leo, and I'm probably going to include this in next week's reading just because of how late it happens. But Mercury does enter Leo, and what this is, Mercury is your ability to learn and communicate. And in Leo, it wants to be seen. So this is your ability to stand up, be seen, share what you know, communicate, teach others, even be a good student, show others how to be a good student, because that Mercury is about learning, and so it's about teaching others, but also you being a student and you being taught. I think that's important. And like I said, it's about standing up, being seen, being appreciated. Learn how you communicate best and practice it so that others will want to pay attention to you. So this can be speaking. So maybe joining Toastmasters or something like that can help you, or some sort of public speaking program, or taking a creative writing class, or taking a writing class, learning how to write blogs or write a book, whatever. This is you learning how to communicate so that you can share it with others. And be willing to open to learning new ideas that can result in your being able to express yourself more naturally and appropriately, knowing what to say and when to say it and how to say it. And I like that. And the shadow here, well, Mercury just is that person that just does not know when to stop talking. And on and on, even when there's nothing to say. Or it's a person who can be way too tight-lipped and won't say anything at all. And in Leo, it's the drama king and drama queen. Person wants to just stand there and regale everybody at a party with their stories. Or the person who, hey, tell us about that. Why? There's nothing to tell. Or why don't you go ask them? They were there. They actually did more of the. Yeah, that's more giving credit. It's go ask somebody else. I'm really not in the mood to talk right now. So there's that. Carrying on too long. Also be careful of taking shortcuts, various forms of plagiarism, using AI to do the work for you and claiming it as your own. It can give you a bad reputation. And anything you do anytime you're in Leo, and you do something wrong, it's going to be out, it's going to be publicly known. So do please be careful. I like to give that warning because Leo is life in the public. All this is life in the public realm. But Leo is really, you're up in center stage. Let's see. So there we go. And that is everything, I think. I hope. And the program is still working. Thank you, Techie Solution people. So do follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I am on them. Facebook and Instagram, I do post, usually post a daily deep dive is what I call it, and where I take a transit a little bit deeper. I'm also in the digital soul space. There's the link there. These three here are making billions of dollars off your data. In digital soul space, run by Mighty Networks, you control your data, and you control what gets shared, with whom, and how, when, etc. So I call it the happy corner of the internet. It's private. And there's astrology there. So if you're into astrology, there's a couple different astrologers to share their stuff. But if you're into crystals, tarot, oracle decks, you're interested in different types of spirituality, that's on there as well. It's kind of like a spiritual Facebook. And everybody, there's no guru, as people have mentioned numerous times, there's no guru for anything. You ask a question, people are going to share their experiences and help you to grow. So it's really cool, troll-free zone with 4 great moderators. Let me get to here. I do readings. Here's my website, Freedom to Astrology. And there's the intro. I do readings. Okay. This is the internet freezing up again. And they're done that, got photos. First set of keys I offer is understanding your birth chart. Your birth chart is not who you are, it's who you came here to become. So don't think of it as the beginning. Look at this as the end of the race. So this is understanding your end goal and the goal line of who you're here to become. Past life reading, also known as a karmic reading. I should put that in there. If you believe in past lives, the nodes of the moon tell you who you were in a past life and how that's showing up in this lifetime so that you can heal it and release the past. If you are a one and done type person, this is a karmic challenge that you accepted so that you could learn, so you're learning a special lesson, what the challenge is and how to overcome it. And those are available also as a reading. Second set of keys I offer you are the horoscopes. These are the various types of transits. This is transiting to transiting, like what I'm doing here, but this is also transiting to your natal chart. So these are special things for you. Life cycle and yearly horoscope, those are 12-month horoscopes, 2 different styles that I do with them. And they can be any 12 months in a row. And for these, I look specifically at the nodes of the moon, outer planets, and the asteroid Chiron. Oop, didn't want that. Quarterly is any 3 months, and I start to dig a little bit into the inner planets. And this is any 3 months in a row. We're looking for great themes or lessons. And then the monthly horoscope. My preference is to do this new moon to new moon. However, there are people, because that's the natural lunar cycle. However, there are people who like to go first of the month, the end of the month. I'm fine any 30, 31 days in a row. We'll look at that. So those are that. And then you scroll down a little bit more. I do offer these in packages, which bundle them together and give you a 10% discount. So there you go. That's right. I gotta pull this down. Sorry. So do follow me on social media. If you're on Meet in Real Life Mural, that's my handle there if you want live questions. So thank you very much. Like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. I forgot to show that. I do a once a week newsletter where I share these transits and what have you in advance and give other astrological insights that I may not give during my regular blog posts. I do have a blog section on my page so you can see previous readings or previous postings that I've done. That's it. I do have a newsletter, so that there'll be a pop-up where it says subscribe. You click on that, and that'll take you to the page. All I need is an email address once a week. So thank you, like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. And thank you to my techies for helping me get my computer up and working. And this is finally recorded, and I should be able to post this today and get caught up on readings I am behind. So thank you very much. Have the best week possible.